Hello and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, my name is Randesha, or Randy for short, and in this video we are going to be closing out my July budget. And I do a very simple closeout budget, and I'll just go through it really quick because I have changed my process just a little bit. So typically what I'll do is I will make sure that anything that's not marked off as paid in this expense rollover, I make sure to transfer over to the next month's budget, because I want to make this money is still in my checking account. So I want to make sure that I know what it is so I don't end up accidentally spending it. So that's one thing that gets transferred over. This PTO sick time tracker, initially I did find it helpful, but this month I really haven't used it at all, and my husband has taken off more days than this. So, but I just no longer find value in it, so I'm not going to be using this going forward. My monthly goals, I typically check off anything that I've accomplished, and I typically do that off camera unless I have completed it. I've completed neither one of these as of the recording of this video, and I'll save this one. This one usually is like notes that I'm taking, but what I'm using it for now is new. And then basically before I go into this, basically the rest of my budget is just reference at this point. So my monthly calendar, my monthly budget breakdown, and then my paycheck budgets. So I don't do anything with those because they're already done. So the last thing that I typically do is just allocate the money that's in my sinking fund account. I'll allocate it amongst these sinking fund accounts and cash envelopes. So I do use digital envelopes, and I do have an account for all of these that I need. So if there's no money in them currently, there's not an account open for it. But the ones that do have money in them, of course, they have an account. So what I'll do is I'll typically notate how much that I've been able to save up throughout the month to allocate to these different funds. So for example, I have almost $1,600 in sinking funds that I need to allocate amongst these accounts. And I did it this way initially because I was with Chase Sapphire, and I could, like a lot of my accounts that I opened were closed for some reason. So long story short, I switched from Chase Sapphire to Capital One 360, and that's what I'm with right now. And I can have up to 25 savings accounts, but I haven't opened all 25. So just because I haven't needed to. So again, each one of these have their own account. So I can see the beginning and ending balance and all of the transactions that have gone, all of the money that has come in and out of that account. So that's what this kind of used to do. And I just no longer need it. But just to show you what I did do previously, I would do the beginning balance of the account, and then I'd put how much I'm budgeting to put into the account at the end of the month. And then right here in this column would be where I would allocate the money that I've saved up throughout the month. And I will write down how much I'm going to put towards each account so that when I go into the digital cash envelopes, I know how much money to transfer to which accounts. And then I would just write the ending balance, and then I was going to write the difference between the beginning and the ending balance, and kind of like see whether I met this budgeted goal or not. So I can just give you those numbers really quick. I'm not going to write them down because again, I'm not going to use this as this is going forward. So birthday/anniversary, there was no money in there. I didn't put anything in there. So that's that. And then same thing for Christmas. Memberships is basically like subscriptions, you can think about it as. And there was $95 in there in the beginning. I wasn't planning on adding anything to it, so the ending balance is still $95. The debt extra payment, I started with $1,113.01, and my goal was to put a little over $1,200 in that account. And because I have $1,500 in my sinking funds, depending on if I put any, like how much money I put in any of these, then I may or may not reach that $1,200 goal. So let's come back to that one. The financial advisor, I started with $600. I didn't plan on putting anything in there, and I didn't. So the ending balance is $600. The tax prep, the beginning was $0, but I wanted to put $600 in there. And I actually did put $600 in there, but I ended up using $280 of it in order to do like a massive cleanup of our yard, because there was just like weeds and bushes everywhere. If you've been following me, you know what I'm talking about. But now, since I used 280 of it, I have 320 left in that account. Big ticket is basically anything that we're saving up for. So like maybe a big screen TV, you know, a couch, because we still need furniture in our downstairs living room, but that's currently a playroom for our son, so we're not really worried about that. And yeah, so things like that. So there's no money in it. Same thing as like Christmas and birthday. Car insurance is the same thing. And then the next one is home repair and maintenance. It started with $91. I wanted to put $25 in there, and I did, but we had some things come up. So like our microwave broke, and basically I'm using that, what is that? Almost $115 in order to replace the microwave. So that's essentially zero. Car repair and maintenance. My husband and I have been getting our car service, so that's pretty much gone between oil changes and renewing car registrations and stuff like that. That's pretty much gone. Vacation, we didn't have an account, and it's like the same thing as the other empty ones. House supplies, we did put $15 in there. It did start with 30, so you know, life. We have to buy trash bags and cleaning supplies and stuff like that. So that account is pretty much gone. So it was just that time to basically do a huge shopping spree at Costco. Home decor, we haven't started. Same thing with the other empty accounts. Toiletries, we started with $50, and then I put $35 in it. But again, we pretty much purchased a lot of things. So that probably has like $30 in it, maybe. I don't know. Medical, I knew that we were going to have some huge medical bills. So I actually should have started saving up for this earlier. But yeah, goals to pay off debt. So I didn't prioritize it until this month. And then I went ahead and booked all of our medical like checkups, you know, dentist, eye doctor, the doctor, stuff like that. And yeah, we got a whopping bill that I'll talk about in August, in my August budget video. So just know that all that money is gone and then some. So the medical is empty. Yard service, again, we had 100, well, we started with 80. I did put $40 in it. So that was 120 that I put towards the yard service, and then I used that other 280 from the, what was it? From the tax prep. That together was the $400 we needed in order to get our yard cleaned. Yeah, it cost us $400 to get all those weeds and everything, like all the gardening services, to get our yard front and back to how it's supposed to be looking. So yeah, that was a huge bill, but now our son can go in the backyard and play. So that's really all that matters. And where was I? Clothing, I did put $15 in it, but I mean, $15 towards clothes is nothing. So that's pretty much gone. And then gifts, nothing. So that's basically how I would have finished out this column, but I'm basically going to use this section as a sinking funds transaction log, and I'll give you more details on that in just a second. So I still need to write down my sinking fund allocations. It's just that I don't need all of these columns. So what I've done is I basically moved this to right here in this section where I'm writing down the description or like the account name, the amount that I'm putting. So out of the total sinking fund amount that we saved up throughout the month, how much am I putting in each one of the categories? And then I'll put the ending balance for that account so I can make sure once I'm done transferring all the funds that each account is has the ending balance that it should have. And that's really all I need to know. So that's what I'm going to do here going forward. And then this sick time tracker, I'm going to turn this, I'm going to try out like a sinking fund summary in this section right here. So oh, let me tell you how I actually allocated the sinking funds. So we saved up $1,596.44 for the month of July in our sinking funds account. So we are going to take all of that money and put it towards debt. And we are going to try and pay off my student loans because the ending balance for the debt extra payment is now up to $2,710.65, because if you add the 1,59644 with the 1,113 and 1 cent that was in there before, it is an interest accruing account. So it's not going to be like when you add these two numbers together, it's not going to be exactly this, but it's going to be pretty close. So that's like the difference if you add those two up. But anyways, we have over $2,700 in there, and I think my student loans is at $2,600. So we're going to go ahead and pay off the student loans. That's probably going to be shown in my July debt tracker or debt snowball update video. So stay tuned to the channel if you want to see that. So yeah, and I did check my my account, this specific account, and it does have this balance in there. So that wraps up July's budget. So it's basically closed out. So let me show you now what I'm going to do on these two pages for the month of August. So for the month of August, I'm going to do the new sinking funds allocation right here that we just went over. I rolled over the $230 that was still pending in my checking account from July. And right here is the sinking fund summary. This was kind of like a last minute decision, and I had already set up August to be the PTO sick time tracker. So I'll probably have to white this out, and I need to think about how I want to set this up so that it tells me basically like a summary of this transaction log. So for this transaction log, I want to track things that I'm using cash envelope or sinking fund money for purchases that don't belong in that, that category of a sinking fund. So for example, if I transfer money from my toiletries account to my food account to cover some fast food that we were purchasing, I'm going to note that on here. So I'm going to put from account toiletries to account food, how much it was, and then what I'm going to write what we bought. And I want to do this because I'll say out of all the money that we put in our sinking funds and our cash envelopes, I'll say about 30%. That's kind of like what I do. I will move the money from one account to another account to cover in expense, and that doesn't really belong to that original account. And doing it this way, I can have clarity, like logging all of the transactions and then summarizing them into categories like, okay, how much money did I take from the toiletries account and use it for other sinking funds? Maybe those sinking funds need extra money, or maybe I don't need as much money in my toiletries account because I'm always taking money out of there to use elsewhere. So you kind of get what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to narrow in on my transfers and like my misuse basically of my sinking funds and my cash envelopes. So it doesn't happen that often, but it kind of like defeats the purpose if I'm taking money out of the cash envelope or the sinking fund and using it for other things that that money was intended for. So I want to get better at that, and I kind of want to like bring that to zero or next to zero. So I'm going to try it out for the month of August and see how it goes. And of course, you guys will get an update on how it's going or how it went in my August budget closeout. So that's all I do to close out my budgets. And oh, for the last page, this page right here, the last page that's in front of the next month's dashboard, I just use it as notes. So anything that I've written as notes that I need to like, it's like basically a reflection. So anything that I noticed throughout the current month that I want to change going forward, or just, a note that I don't want to forget to put in my next month's budget goes on this page. So, yeah, it's pretty simple. I don't do any reflections, questions, or anything like that because I'm so active in my budget on pretty much a daily basis that I'm constantly thinking about how to improve my budget and how to make my budget work for me and answer like questions that I want answered, because I believe in having my budget answer questions that my bank statement or some app can't do. So that's why I do use a paper budget, and I find it easier to make changes than if I were to use a digital like a spreadsheet or to use an app exclusively. So yeah, just in case anybody was wondering. So I hope you enjoyed my July budget closeout. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you want to help me get to 1,000 subscribers by October, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.